Hey there kids, this is Danny from Level 28 Toys bringing you another review of a commission custom piece. This time it is the character John McClane from Die Hard, the original Die Hard. This figure is a kit bashed figure. It's used, I believe, 5 figures in the build of this guy, with quite a lot of sculpting and repaint and things like that. So getting started, the head is actually from the Bruce Willis character Butch Coolidge, the Diamond Select series of the Pulp Fiction action figure. So that figure came bald, so I've done a sculpt of the hair on that guy to make it, Bruce Willis had a little more hair back in, 92 when this movie came out. So, of course, repainted head and everything for that. The torso and the biceps to forearms on this guy are made from a WWE Alberto Del Rio figure. The shoulders, I can't tell you where those came from. Probably another WWE figure in my fodder bin. The hands are actually from the same figure the legs are. That is a Hilo figure from Battlestar Galactica, again Diamond Select, to get everything in the right proportion. And the feet are actually from a Namor Submariner Marvel Legends figure. You'll notice that there is resculpt done on, I've hand sculpted the sort of, I guess, what is it, tank top shirt that he has right here, as well as the belt and all of the belt loops on the figure are completely sculpted by hand and hand painted. So he's this version of the figure is actually from later on in the movie, as you could tell by all of the sort of battle damage and bruising and blood splatter and everything on him. I'm really happy with how this came out. Tried to stay as close to the sort of Diamond Select and Nika style as possible, so it would fit in with other collections. And you guys know by this point that this is my favorite sort of the scale to work in. I like ultra detailed figures. So not to just leave it alone with a basic figure. I like to add a lot of customization options and accessories. He does actually come with a handful of different weapons. So you got like the MP5, the Uzi here. He does come with a 9mm pistol, a radio to talk to Carl Winslow on. And my favorite of the accessories is actually this MP5 here with the strap that you'll see him carrying throughout the latter half of the movie. And actually, I believe, saved his life on a couple of occasions, this strap here. So this is a custom added strap to an MP5 that can be strapped around his waist. I like to sling it around the side here to give him a little more detail from the back. His hands actually are... I've done a lot of sculpting on this guy to give him more of a range of movement than the original wrestling figure. For instance, these hand joints here are actually handmade. I've made different joint pegs and everything to give it a wrist swivel as well as kind of an up-down motion, I guess you would say. I've given it a bicep swivel, as the original Alberto Del Rio figure did not have any motion. It just was a solid piece here. So I've cut that down and added kind of a smooth motion there. His arms do have quite a bit of range of motion on them, so he's capable of all kinds of really cool poses. I've also sort of sanded out a bit of the neck to give it more of an up and down posability, I guess. Is that even a word? I tend to use that a lot. Let's get a little lighting change here. It seems like everything got a little dark there. Yeah, that's better. All right. So, as I said, both of his arms have been updated with these new wrist joints and the sort of shoulder bicep swivel as well. So, to give him really dynamic posing shapes, like the ability to hold guns like you naturally would. So these can be, you know, interchanged. You can load him up with weapons, as I said. So we'll have him just hold that one off to the side here and put the radio in his hand. So that can actually be held up toward his face. Get that to snap into place there. Yep. So there's you know, I'm really happy with all of the options here. I think my customer is going to be really pleased with the amount of, you know, different dynamic posing and everything. And I've gone, you know, into my usual depths of trying to make it as detailed as possible and as accurate to the source material. So much so that there's a scene in the movie where he's walking through broken glass, and you know, he spends the entire movie barefoot. So that was a big deal for me to, you know, to make sure that they weren't just, you know, bare feet, that he's actually got the cuts and bruises and blood and everything on his feet there. So overall, super pleased with how this figure came out. It's actually one of my favorite customs I've ever worked on. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching.